So I'll just cut right to the chase. The number one thing that you want to do if you want to start selling art, getting commissions, meeting other artists, or just growing your art business is to do art shows, craft shows, and things of that nature. So in my city, in my town, in my community, there are these things that are starting to happen called art walks. And I did one in kind of a town that's about a half hour away from Omaha, where I live, and it was entirely free. And really what they did was, I think it's a genius marketing plan. They partnered with a bunch of businesses in the downtown area of this town and also had artists collaborate with them. And they basically allowed artists to come set up in different businesses throughout the downtown area, provided a map, and then it was almost like a scavenger hunt for people just on a Saturday morning, going for a walk, walk the dog, go to get a cup of coffee. They would have signs up, and then people would kind of be incentivized to go into these businesses to see all of the different artists. But there's kind of a symbiotic relationship there, because in order to see the artists, they have to go into the business. So it's kind of a win-win both for the businesses and for the artists. They did it, it was entirely free. And so essentially what I did, some people at art shows and craft shows, I will say that there are some art and craft shows that are very pricey, kind of prestigious. Maybe you have to pay quite a bit of money to get into the art show. And that would be like, a certain threshold. So they're probably expecting a certain amount of clientele that, is expecting to spend a lot of money or to invest in $1,000 pieces of artwork. I'm not necessarily talking about that type of an art show because I don't really have experience with that. But I'm talking about, like an arts and crafts show, an art walk, something that's free or low cost to you. I would say, something where, you're paying maybe under $150, under $100. The two that I have done have been entirely free. And so I would look for something like that, of that nature. So you don't, I've seen the professional ones where people have these huge tents and elaborate setups. You don't need anything like that to get started. So basically what I have is a $20 card table that I bought from Walmart and some dollar little display easels that I got from the dollar store. And essentially I set up a handful of my artwork. Some of it is for sale, but a lot of it is just to kind of catch people's eye and let them know what I do, and kind of have them walk over and to look at the artwork and to see what I do. And my strategy has been to, rather than trying to sell artwork for $100 or for more than that, or because rather than trying to do that, which I had offered some paintings for sale, but nobody bought it. What my strategy has been is to try to collect commissions. So I would set up some of my artwork on the table, and I opened up my plein air setup and started painting. So the first one at the Fremont Art Walk, I thought, what are sort of commissions that people would do? So I offer 3 types of portraits, basically: pet portraits, people portraits, and house portraits or landscapes, right? And I created a little sign that said, contact me for custom artwork. And as people would come up to my table to look at some of my paintings or to look over my shoulder as I was painting, and I was painting a dog portrait of my dog from a photo on my phone, it was almost like, it really drew people in, like, oh, what is that guy doing? So this is something that you could replicate. If you're an urban sketcher, you could be urban sketching right there. If you want to sketch from a photograph, you could do that. But I think like that is like one of the killer things that drew people into my table, as opposed to some other people where they're just sitting there. They maybe have a ton of artwork around them. Maybe they're mostly selling prints or things like that. But you have to think, like, why are people going to walk up to your table versus other people's tables? And even if they do walk up to their table, what is it that you would like them to do? And I just, the more that I thought about it, it was like the odds that somebody is going to walk up to my table cold, they're going to see my artwork, and they're immediately going to want to pay $200 or $100, or more for an artwork as they're, walking their dog and drinking a cup of coffee on a Saturday morning. The odds of that are super, super low, right? So that first one, I was just collecting commissions, and I got handed out business cards. So that's something that I would recommend if you can have business cards, or like even just print out a QR code of your Instagram or something like that, that people can somehow connect with you, or get in touch with you or follow you if you have a social media presence. I think that would be a really ideal way, because you're kind of putting yourself out there in people's minds, so that maybe if they don't want to buy from you today, maybe they don't want to get a commission, but a lot of times people are going to want to think about it. I think just the odds that you're going to just snag them right there immediately and yes, take all my money, I don't think that that's necessarily, that realistic. So if you can kind of be out there and demonstrate what you do, I think like that's sort of the first thing that you want to do. So get involved with an art walk or an arts and crafts show where the threshold is free or, under $100. Get a simple little table set up, display some of your artworks, and have the mentality of, I just want to connect with people. I want to put my name out there. I want to let people know that I will do commissions for them, because once people sign on that, even creating an email list, following you on YouTube, following you on Instagram, you're going to get people intrigued and interested, and they've seen what you do and they've seen examples of your artwork, and those are all the precursors to getting somebody to buy from you. And so in fact, I set out a list, and on that first one, I was there for I think 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours, and out of that, 3 people signed their name on the sheet, being specifically interested in doing some pet portraits, because that's what I was doing there. I was showing them what I could do by working on a pet portrait at that time. So they saw me in action, they saw examples of my work. Many other people took my business cards, and it's hard to check those metrics to see how many people are gonna follow you on Instagram or follow you on YouTube. But even just having that social media presence, even if you don't have that, start doing that. But getting yourself out there, displaying your artwork, letting people see your artwork. To me, I always talk about my videos, you have a voice that matters, go be creative. And I really believe that. Like, everybody should indulge their creativity. You have a unique sense of creativity. The way that you make art, the way that you see the world, those are unique to you, and people will appreciate it, but they can't appreciate it unless they see it. So ultimately, like, even if all that ever happens, there's no commissions, there's no sales, there's no money made, but if you can set out there almost like your own little personal gallery, and you have people who are intrigued and interested in art, they're walking with their kids, and they see your table and they look at your art, that's a win. That's a win, that you can at least display your artwork, whether it's in a sketchbook or whatever, to people and have them see it and appreciate it. That's what making art is all about. We have to remember, like, our creativity is not something to hide. It's not entirely just for selfish reasons. Like, we do enjoy it, we do reap the benefits, but all art is about communicating something, and we communicate to others, and we can share that beauty and that way of viewing the world, and there's that sense of appreciation. You can inspire people, bring joy to people, just let them be impressed by it, and appreciate the artwork. Just like when you go and you see artists on Instagram, or you go to the museum and you see art that you like, you're able to share that with other people. And so for me, I think just baseline alone, if you can display your artwork for a few hours and get it in front of some people's eyes and they see it and they appreciate it, that's a win. But then secondarily, if you create a way for them to communicate with you, to follow up with you, to follow you on social media, or to have a business card or any of those things, create a free website, make a portfolio of your artwork, and if people are interested in doing a commission, whatever type of artwork you do, have just a piece of paper for them to write down their email and name on, and chat with people and get to know people. People like to talk with artists. And the other day at the other art walk that I did, one guy came up to me and he said, "Wow, I've never met an artist in real life before." And it was like an exciting thing for him. And what's funny is, I remember having that exact same feeling. I remember like wanting to get into art, wanting to teach myself how to draw and paint and do all those things, but I didn't know anybody else who did it. I didn't know anybody who really did it. And so the first time that I started to kind of run into people or hear about people and in my city, in my town, who did do this stuff professionally, that was like an incredible like light bulb moment for me to meet somebody who does plein air, and to ask them questions, and to meet somebody, you know, who sells their art in galleries, and to talk to them, and just to say like, yeah, I met somebody, and to see it in real life. That is an exhilarating moment. And so you can be that person for somebody else, which is a super cool thing. At a bare minimum too, like if you set up your art supplies and you're doing art there, you're drawing, you're sketching, you're painting, whatever, and people can see it, at the bare minimum, you're getting to practice. You can sketch the people around you, which is what I did at the second art walk that I did this last week. In my neighborhood, in my city, they've created a new art district. They had an art walk, and again, it was entirely free to get involved. So I brought my same little card table and set up, put up some artwork, had that, but this time I came up with a second strategy, because with the first one I noticed that really not very many people were selling like expensive pieces of artwork, but a lot of people were selling prints. And so I asked some of the other artists there, how do you make your prints? One lady said, oh, I do it at Walgreens. I thought, really? Okay. So I'll try that. So I went onto the Walgreens website. I created some basic little like postcard size prints of an oil painting that I had done of this castle, because the art walk that I was doing was at this Joslin Castle, which I've painted several times. You can watch the painting of it if you want on this video card here, but I took that painting, photo of that painting that I had, printed it off, and you know, it wasn't too expensive to make these prints on Walgreens, same day pickup. I thought that the quality was pretty decent, and my game plan was to have something cheap to sell people. So I have one strategy, which is have this sign up sheet, talk to people, let them see the artwork that I do, display some of my artworks as examples, and say, you can get custom commission artwork from me. I can paint your portrait, I can paint your pet's portraits, I can paint, you know, your house or a landscape or whatever you want. And I tell that to people as they come up to my table. I go, hi, how's it going? Like, oh, I like to do custom paintings for people, or, you know, commission. I like to do pet portraits. I do urban sketches. I do these watercolor sketches. Whatever it is that you do, you could tell people as they approach you, and have some business cards. But I was amazed that the second art walk that I had these prints, and I just said $5. I had a little QR code for people to use Venmo or to pay me in cash. It was about a 50-50 split, but I sold enough of those prints to make all my money back from that I had paid for the prints, which is great, because if I go to sell those prints now, I'm entirely in the profit, or I can even use that money to make more prints in the future. So I was really excited by that. Of course, on the back of the print, guess what I put? My website, my Instagram, my YouTube, my email, and I autographed it. Some people were like really impressed. Oh, did you hand sign this? Yes. I had like one lady say like, oh, I'm gonna frame this. I'm gonna put this on my wall. It was a $5 print, right? But again, like creating something where people can see your art, they can meet you as an artist, you're getting to chat with people. And I got even more commissions, people who are interested in commissions that second day. And so by basically doing 2 of these little art walks that both constituted about 3 or 4 hours each, that I was able to get about 8 people who were interested in commissions. So now, will all of those pan out? I don't know yet. You know, we're still kind of in the conversation phase, and I don't know how many business cards I gave out to, and it's hard to say how many of those people will contact me. Maybe none of them. Maybe some of them are waiting to think about it some more. Maybe they'll contact me in the future. But to me, this is like a brilliant, brilliant way to kind of kickstart your art career, and you can really attenuate it as much as you want. You know, you don't have to do every commission. If somebody, you know, has a crazy idea that doesn't fit your vision, you don't have to do it. But to me, it's a win at every stage, because you get to showcase what you do. You get to practice your art and sketching people and sketching groups and sketching plein air. You get to let people display your art and see your art, and they can appreciate it and enjoy it, which is like the whole point of art making. And then you can connect with people, either having them follow you on social media and potentially selling your artwork, creating prints, and all of those things. So to me, this is the number one thing if you want to meet people and create, you know, sort of kickstart the business of doing art, even if it's not going to be full-time. It doesn't need to be full-time, but this is a great way to get your art out there, get yourself out there, and just allow people to enjoy your art and possibly make a living on the side. This art show that I did, art walk that I did with the Castle Cathedral District, they also had a gallery at the cathedral where I was able to display some of my artwork and have the potential to sell it. And this gallery does sell artwork. So just a very, very cool opportunity. I was totally honored to get to do that. I love getting to chat with people, and they would tell me about their pets, or talking about doing a portrait of them, and it was just really cool and exciting. And my sense was like the people who came to this, they were excited about art, they were interested, they were excited to meet me and to see it. And I felt the same way. It was really cool to see all the different artists and different people, just the different creative fields. There were musicians there. There was a bookbinder there. I might get like a custom sketchbook made by him maybe. There's all, people selling plants. It was almost like a farmer's market, but it's for art. And so just a really cool thing, really fun, and not that hard to get involved with. So I highly recommend it for you guys. You know how I found out about some of these was just simply Googling. So Google like your town or your state, art show, craft show, things like that. And be willing to travel half an hour or something like that. See what the threshold is. Try to do free ones. Try to do ones where the entry fee isn't too expensive. Look into making some prints of your artwork, and be willing to sketch or draw or paint or do whatever it is that you do there in person. And then connect with people. And I think like ultimately, if you do that, that's the basis of both a relationship and like being present in your community as an artist. But also it can be the basis in the beginning of a business relationship and help you grow your art, gain experience, and learn, and just share your creativity with other people. So you know how I'm going to end this. You have a voice that matters. Go be creative. I'll see you next time.